Good morning to everyone. It is November the 12th, Thursday. Good morning. How is everyone doing? Today is a very special morning for me. I have a couple of things to share you. I'm going to wait for a little bit longer as everyone joins. As you know, this is live with Gabi Natale, and we're back in the closet after being all across the home. So we're back to where we started today. And it's a very special day. I have a couple of few announcements to make, but like every morning, if this is your first time that you're joining, just wanted to give you the welcome. These are just 15 minutes that we take, I call it our morning oasis, 15 minutes that we take to set our intentions, to start the day with the right food, to connect with each other. And this is a simulcast, so we're saying hello to everybody on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, Twitter, Periscope, Twitch, you name it. We are simulcasting for so many different platforms, and we are happy to be here. I'm saying Catalina Williamson, good morning, Gabi. Good morning, Catalina. I received something from you, very beautiful. We're gonna talk about it in the next days, but thank you so much. It was wonderful. Judy Marquez, good morning, Gabi. Good morning, Judy. She is saying hello from Facebook. Marito, Humberto, amiga linda hermosa, saludos, Argentina, Mendoza, saludos. As you know, Marito, I always say, where's the wine? Where's the wine? Because Mendoza is wine country in Argentina. So where's the wine? Liliana Ospina is saying felicidades. Thank you. We have an announcement to make today. So Liliana, I think, already knows about it. But it's a very interesting moment, interesting morning. So many things are going on, and at the same time, yesterday it was a holiday here in the United States, but also I was working on something that I'm going to share with you next week. That is very nice. A taping that I did that is something to do with honoring the work from other journalists, from other colleagues, from other people in media. So that's going to be next week. But today I have a very beautiful announcement to make. So we're going to kick things, and this announcement has been years in the making, and this announcement has been something that at some moments I didn't know if it was going to be possible. At some other moments I had my doubts, and it's all about breaking barriers. So we're going to go to our opening credits, and today I'm going to tell you about what is it that I have to announce today to you, but also, which is something very important for me, it is how we can keep breaking barriers. What are the lessons that I have learned from this milestone, from this journey that I'm sharing today with you, and how each of us can train itself to break barriers and keep breaking barriers. So we're going to start in just a little minute. As every day, we have our opening credits, and in 20 seconds, we start live with Gabi Natale. Today, yes, from the closet. There has never been a better time to be a pioneer than right now. Diversity is beautiful! Thank you! And as I'm seeing the opening credits, how everything is connected with everything, because when I received that Emmy, I said diversity is beautiful. I've always been a fan of diversity, and sometimes diversity was something that I couldn't see in the world. Every time I looked around and I saw how a Latina, especially a Latina who happens to be an immigrant like me, was portrayed in media, I felt that it was being reduced to a stereotype. And I felt like so many times media made a horrible job at portraying and depicting the multidimensional and beautiful heritage that we have. And I was so eager to see our voices, and I was so eager to see our stories in the world. And one day, I got tired of it, and I decided I'm going to write my own story. And that was 3 years ago. before that, of course, it was my show, Super Latina, where I started to create content. But 3 years ago, I created a book that is called El Círculo Virtuoso. And it was launched in Spanish. Basically, the book is a book about what I learned from 10 years of interviewing underdogs, super achievers, pioneers, trailblazers from all walks of life. So in that book, you're going to have Carlos Santana. In that book, it's Deepak Chopra. There's so many people from different backgrounds, but they all started as an underdog. And I've always been fascinated by these stories of underdogs and what makes these stories of underdogs so exceptional, and what is it that makes these people overcome the odds. So I can say that this is a story of an underdog who was became obsessed, me, with interviewing other underdogs to really get to the core, the secret sauce of what made them successful in spite of everything. So that book, El Círculo Virtuoso, was published and it debuted #1 in Amazon in 3 different categories: in self-help, in business, and in inspiration. And I always wanted for that book to be in English as well, because I know how important it is for all our voices to be represented. And I knew that this book could have such a bigger impact if this was a book that was also published in English. But at the time, it didn't happen. I knocked on so many doors and I was so eager to make this happen, but it didn't happen. And that's why today I'm so happy and I'm so thrilled to announce today that I just became the first Latina author to be published by the leadership division of HarperCollins publishing house. So this is a division that publishes John C. Maxwell. This is a division that publishes Rachel Hollis and so many authors. And I happen to be the very first Latina. So the Virtuous Circle is here. The Virtuous Circle is in English. It's coming out January 5th of 2021 for everybody who is looking for a new chapter in your life, to pivot, to reinvent yourself, to start over because you might have lost everything or a big chunk of what you were doing, or you want to think about how you can start a new life. So I'm going to show you a little bit because it's already out in the world, people, and I couldn't be happier after 3 years. So this is I'm going to share with you, this is the landing page that the publishing house created, and I'm going to leave all the links for you to take a look at it. So this is the Virtuous Circle: restore your confidence, bounce back, and emerge stronger. That's why I wanted to update the book to the times that we are living, so that we all focus on how we can emerge stronger from what we're living. So what sets top achievers apart from everybody else? And this is a little bit about what we were discussing. So you can see a little bit here from the landing page what the book is about, how you can pre-order, how you can develop your action plan, identify and cultivate your own potential for greatness, develop your action plan, understands what skills you must develop, turn enthusiasm into your fuel. There's a lot of things, but here's at the core of what it is. Dreams. If you know me, you know I'm all about dreams and executing dreams. Dreams, as I say here, dreams improve us. They make us more persistent, more creative, more valuable. Dreams, sometimes I do for my dream things that I wouldn't have done for myself, but I do them for my dream. I get more courage, I get more discipline, I get many qualities that sometimes I don't have or that I lack from my dream. I borrow them from my dream. So that is, and you can go to Amazon. It's already there. I told you that I was recording the audiobook, so you can pre-order the audiobook narrated by me, The Virtuous Circle, and I fought really hard for this one to make it happen because I wanted a book to be narrated by its author, and especially a book about leadership, because leaders come in different colors, different sizes, different nationalities, different accents. So that's why it was so important for me to have our experience authentically represented. So that's a big news that I have for you today. The book is out there in the world. And I hope that you enjoy it. Let me stop sharing the screen, and I'm gonna read you, and then I'm gonna share with you a little bit about the things that I have learned, because I don't want to make it all about, hey, the book is out there. I want to bring value and share with you what are some of the things that I learned around in this road of making this first happen, because we truly need all our voices represented. So this is the topic of today, the milestone announcement, plus 5 things that I want you to remind yourself when you're working on breaking barriers. We're all working in one way or another to break barriers, to do something we haven't done before, or to be something we haven't been before, or to execute a plan, a project, a service, something that sometimes you don't see in the world. Like what happened to me. I couldn't see books written by people like me. And so this happened when it had to happen, but I'm so happy I get to be the first Latina author to be published by HarperCollins Leadership. So the book is here. It's available for pre-order, and it's a book, I think, I always call it, I define myself as a rebel dreamer, because so many times I did things that if you look at them like objectively from the outside, you would say, like, it's not gonna happen. Like, it's so hard that this is gonna come through, or it's so hard that this could ever happen. But at the same time, there's a part of me that believes more in my vision, believes more in what I want to do, believes more in my mission than in whatever voices are in the outside, or in whatever statistics are in the outside. And I've learned that it was so important to trust that voice and to keep listening to that voice, because at the end of the day, that voice has been a great guiding force for me when I couldn't see around what I wanted to be, or when I couldn't see around the type of projects that I wanted to do, and when I wanted to break barriers, but it was so hard, to have faith in those projects when you don't see them so often executed in the world. So I'm very happy about it. I'm gonna read your comments, some of your comments, and then I want to give you 5 things that you have to remind yourself if you're working on breaking barriers, and who isn't. So let's see. Nora is saying hello, Gabi. Hello, Nora. We have some fire from Andrea Navarro. Fire back. From Facebook, María Cristina Camelino, mi mamá, te amo, mami. Besitos. Good morning, congratulations. I am Latina, say thank you. Okay, she's saying she's also Latina. Gastón Chague, felicidades, gracias, Gastón. Thank you so much. Thank you. Nora, congrats, Gabi. Thank you so much. Jasmine Thomas, amazing news, Gabi. Congratulations. Thank you so much, Jasmine. Andrea Navarro, me encanta Super Latina y todo lo que haces. Gracias, Andrea. Thank you so much. Thank you for the support. Let's keep breaking barriers. Catalina, what a great news, Gabi. I am so happy for you and for this store that you're opening for Las Latinas. Exactly. Because that was one of the key things that I had in mind. It's like, I may be the first at this time in this special division of leadership in HarperCollins, but I know that this store that I am opening today, one of the things that makes me more happy is that I want to make this store big. I want to take all Latina authors, all underrepresented authors with me, because it's so hard in the publishing world to get published. And the numbers and the statistics, they show us that these voices are needed, that these voices need to be there. Oscar Sagal, great week for women, minorities, and Latinas. Absolutely. Congrats on the book. Thank you so much. Teo Rodriguez Salazar, good morning. Catalina, I pre-ordered the audiobook. Yay! So excited. I hope you enjoy it. And we are working on getting so many beautiful things in that audiobook to have the original audio of many important moments that are narrated in that audiobook. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. We're getting some releases and some different things to enrich the experience of that audiobook. Judy Marquez, congratulations. Can't wait to get a copy. Thank you so much. You can pre-order everywhere. It's everywhere right now for it to be pre-ordered. And for everybody who is planning, what to do, how to visualize, to plan, to perfect, execute, persevere, accomplish, and inspire in the new year, everything is there for you. But now I want to share with you a couple of things that I learned and that I had to remind myself in this journey, because it was not easy arriving to this day where this is a dream that is coming true. So if you're working on something, if you want to break barriers, if you're pushing a project, these are some of the things that I wish somebody had told me when I was in the middle of making this work. The first reminder that you have to give yourself is that what you have to contribute matters. Sometimes it's very easy to have the temptation of thinking that idea, that project, that business, that story, whatever you're working on, because you don't see it in the world, because sometimes we are so underrepresented, you think, is this something that is going to be meaningful? Is this something that matters? So every day when you're fighting, when you still don't have the results that are going to validate that vision, you have to trust in that vision even before you have the results to validate it. And at the core of trusting in that vision, when you still don't have those results, I think it's reminding yourself that this contribution that you're about to make, that this idea, this product, this service, this crazy story, or whatever you have in your mind that you're working on, it's something that it's a valid contribution. It's something that matters. Because if inside you, very deep inside, you're not convinced that what you're doing is something that matters, you're not going to have the strength, you're not going to have the focus, you're not going to have the persistence to look for that opportunity. So every day, remind yourself, come here at 9 a.m., because every day we're here setting our intention. So every day we're here reminding ourselves that our work, our worth, our stories, our visions are things that matter, are valid, worthy contributions to this world. So that is the first one. The second one is to remind yourself that it can still happen even if it takes longer. I think sometimes we have a timeline, a particular timeline in our heads, and if things do not happen according to that particular timeline, we start to get very frustrated. And it happened to me so many times with different projects, not only this project, that I started to get anxious, or I started to doubt myself because things did not happen in the time that I thought should happen. So I think one thing that we have to remind ourselves is that even if things are not happening with the timeline that you have in your mind, they can still happen. In the case of my book, I wanted for this book to come out in English. At the same time, it came in Spanish, and it didn't happen at the time. I had to wait for whole 3 whole years for this to happen. And it might have taken longer time, we don't know. But the fact that it has not happened according to the timeline that you have right now, today in your head, doesn't mean that it cannot happen. I think we should not abandon our dreams prematurely, because sometimes you abandon a dream prematurely, and if you kept going, maybe life proves you that something that you abandoned, that you thought it was not going to be possible, it is within your reach. So be flexible with the timelines. The third one is very important, especially if you're a woman, especially if you're somebody coming from an underrepresented community, especially if you're from a minority. And I check many of those boxes. I am a woman, I'm from a minority, I am an immigrant. So one thing that I had to remind myself, and that you should remind yourself every day, is that it can be done. Yes, it can still be done even if nobody has done it before. In the case of my publishing house and my division, which is HarperCollins Leadership, no other Latina had been published before. They had published John C. Maxwell, they had published men, they had published women who happened to not be Latinas. And so you have to knock on those doors, and you have to truly believe that something that in your organization, in your school, in your university, in your family, in whatever world you are standing up right now, in whatever position you're doing right now, in whatever place you have right now in the world, if nobody has done this that you're about to do, or somebody like you has never done it in your position, it can still happen. And it takes a lot of inner work, because it's so much easier to say, hey, she did it, so I can do it, or he did it, so I can do it. But when you don't see yourself represented, it's harder, because you have to create this image and this vision of possibilities inside of you, even when many times you don't see it in the world. But don't allow the fact that it has not been done before, or that it has not been done frequently, or that it has not been done so many times before to affect your own vision. Remind yourself that even if it has not been done before, or it has not been done before by someone like you, it can still happen. So that is something very important. Number 4, I think this is very, very important. You have to lose the fear of ridicule. So many things from the things that I have done, I would have abandoned if I was thinking, how is this going to be perceived? Am I going to be ridiculed about it? What will people think if I'm speaking from the closet in my home in the middle of quarantine? What about the silly beret? What about the accent? What about so many things? And the seed, for example, for this project, the book started one day when, I, as a journalist, lost the fear of ridicule. I was invited to a conference, and instead of having to speak as a moderator, instead of having to do the usual things that I was used to doing in my comfort zone, they told me, do you want to go to the stage and share a personal story, something that happened to you? And I said yes. And then when the day came from this particular event, I started second guessing myself. And I started thinking, what would people think if they learn about, that I was unemployed for so many time in Argentina? What would people think if they learn some of my backstories? What would people think? Is this going to hurt my reputation? So the fear of ridicule was there all the time. And I remember I said, I'm going to do it. I have already committed to doing this speech. And then I went on that stage and I said, I'm not going to be perfect. I'm just going to be honest. I'm just going to be real. I'm just going to share with people how I felt, what happened to me, the fact that I was unemployed for such a long time in the beginning of my career, the fact that I felt that I didn't have a place, to work as a professional, the fact that it was so difficult for me to see a world of possibilities in the beginning. And when I was in that stage, there was one woman, and this was in a conference called We All Grow. There was one woman in the audience who was a literary agent. And she said, you know what? Let's work together. I think there's a book here. And I had already written all my ideas and everything for the book. And it was this moment, some moments that I had of clarity, of doing things without fear of ridicule, that have been pivotal in my life. There's been before and after. There's been breakthroughs every time I say, I'm going to put the fear of ridicule to the side and I'm going to do a TED Talk. I'm going to put fear of ridicule to the side and I'm going to go on a stage. I'm going to put fear of ridicule to the side and I'm going to share a personal experience. I'm going to put ridicule to the side and I'm going to share my personal opinion about something that may or may not be popular. And that's fine, you know. So when you put the fear of ridicule to the side, I think you gain so much power because you really can feel what you're capable of. The things that you maybe wouldn't do normally, but that now you're doing because you don't fear ridicule or you're not as fearful of other people's approval. So that's something that is very important. And then to remind yourself that whenever you're feeling scared, that this is bigger than you, than what you're doing, you know, whatever project you're doing, it's something that if you pioneer, what you're doing is you're moving the world forward. If you're putting that business in the world, if you're putting that story in the world, if you're putting that concept in the world, if you're putting that opinion in the world, if you're putting that creativity in the world, if somehow you are pioneering, this is bigger than you. This is giving permission to others in a way to do the same thing. Being visible to the little girls or the little boys that are seeing you doing what you said you were going to do. Giving permission to other people who maybe identify with you to do the same in their own world. So when you're feeling that you don't have enough strength, or when you're feeling that you are fearful, please remember yourself that every time you pioneer, you move the world forward, and that what you're doing is not just about you, it's something that is bigger than you. So those were some of the things. I know I went over today, but those were some of the things that I wanted to share with you in this journey of getting myself published in English and becoming the first Latina author to be published by HarperCollins Leadership, because I truly feel like this. My goal is not to be the first one, is to be the first one of many. I want many to come after me. I want to open this door for so many of us. So Judy is saying, congratulations, can't wait to get a copy. Catalina Williamson is saying, it's happening at the best moment, just when our world needs it. Thank you so much. I thought about that a lot also, because so many of the things I talk about the book, you know, they are so much more relevant right now. The things I share about overcoming unemployment, about, going after your dreams, about, that there's beauty in being an underdog, and so many things. So I do believe in that, Catalina. I think this is a much better moment for a book like The Virtuous Circle than it was 3 years ago. And then Melissa Boyas is saying, so true, be flexible with timelines. Love this information. Thank you so much. So besitos to everyone. I wanted to share this beautiful news with you. And of course, I'm going to be sharing some more about the content of the book as the days go by. But as I always tell you, in this mini oasis that we create every morning to set our intention, remember, and this is so true, that when you open yourself up to the world, when you see the world with the eyes of possibilities, still in this time, that is such a challenging time, I think it's so important now more than ever to see the world with the eyes of possibilities and to remind ourselves that wonderful things can happen even in difficult times. So remember, as I tell you every day, when you open yourself up to the world opens itself up to you. Now go do the best with your day, with your time, with your ideas. Your contribution matters. See you tomorrow. Nos vemos mañana. Los quiero mucho.